Hi guys, Kristen here. I am so excited to share another lesson with you today, a lesson that I learned about how to actually heal. Not what do we think it takes to heal, but what have I found to actually reclaim my health from severe health issues that kept me out of work for about 3 years of my adult life, okay? These lessons are things that I use to heal not only once, but after a relapse and after a second relapse. So I have reclaimed my health 3 times with these healing lessons, and it has been about 5 or 6 years since my last crash, okay? So I had gotten into a healing relapse cycle, and now I've actually figured out how to get out of that as well. Not only that, but even after these huge gaps on my resume, I was able to reclaim my career at the end of all of this as well. So there's so many lessons that I'm excited to share with you guys about what it really takes to heal and live and get back to a life worth living after mysterious health conditions that conventional medicine doesn't understand, can't explain, can't diagnose, can't treat, overcome your life. All right, so today's lesson is all about advice on the internet. A big topic, and I'm aware that I'm giving advice on the internet, so everything I share today applies to me as well. So a common response to having to go it alone on our healing journey when we don't yet have a doctor or other qualified practitioner to help guide us on our healing journey is to seek out advice on the internet, right? And there is a ton of health advice on the internet. So it takes a little bit of caution to know who to listen to. And another common response in this phase is to think to ourselves like, well, maybe I just need to be more positive. Maybe I need to create my own happiness and create my own energy through positive thinking. Maybe my problem is that I feel so awful and depressed all the time. Maybe I just need to replace those thoughts with happy ones. And then, my health will just get better. And once we're in that place, we start to surround ourselves with health inspirational quotes that say things like, the body heals with play, the mind heals with laughter, and the soul heals with joy. Now, quotes like that can seem harmless. What's the harm, right? Well, I wish quotes like that came with a giant asterisk that said, note, does not apply to anybody struggling with chronic illnesses or severely debilitating diseases like cancer, because it vastly minimizes the work that it takes for many of us to heal. Now, a little hat tip, I acknowledge some of you out there probably have healed a lot simply on laughter alone, and I'm happy for you and I'm joyous for you, but I'm speaking to everyone else where that is not going to be enough to reclaim your life. So the lesson today, the healing response to being in this phase of life is it's great to want to take accountability for your own happiness and to try to create your own energy through your mindset. However, we're only going to be doing that if we are embracing and accepting and feeling all of our emotions. Positive, negative, light, heavy, all of it needs to be felt for us to be happy, healthy, and whole. Because those heavy emotions are messengers from our subconscious and from our body. They're sending us a signal about something. And if we just dismiss and disregard and push away those heavy feelings and replace them with positive ones, we feel soothed in the moment, in the short term, but we've lost out on big opportunities to actually help ourselves heal and progress. Because what happens whenever we have a heavy emotion we want to feel that we cut off, that emotion actually doesn't disappear. The body needs to feel and express itself. And when it doesn't get a chance to, those feelings stay. We're holding on to them longer. I want to share some examples, Whenever we feel that anger, loneliness, frustration, despair, those emotions are important. I want to hone in on grief for a moment, because grief is a really common one. You know, when you've been ill long enough and severely enough to have had it impact your life, maybe you've lost a career, a relationship, your schooling, whatever your dreams and goals and hopes are, maybe you've lost your identity, a big sense of grief comes up in those moments. And if we were to just cut that off with positive thinking, that grief is going to stay stuck, and that grief needs to be expressed. And it actually holds us back in those moments, because for forever, that grief tries to be expressed. We cut it off with positivity, and we're exhausting ourselves in the process. It's healthy to feel grief when you have had a major loss in your life. Grief is actually a process of letting go, of releasing. And when we give ourselves a chance to do that fully, that's when we can incorporate that grief into ourselves. We can move on from what we lost as a whole person and move forward. Whenever we hold on to the grief, it becomes like holding a bowling ball in an outstretched arm. It gets heavier and heavier and harder to do. And it's more exhausting the longer we hang on to these heavy emotions. Another example is fear. It is normal and healthy to be afraid of what else you could lose if your health were to continue to get worse. That is a sane response. There's nothing wrong with feeling some fear, because that fear can actually become useful. That fear is our body's fire alarm saying, this is the time to act. The building around us is burning down. Now is the time to act to save ourselves. Whenever we step in with positive thinking to cut off our fear, it's like turning off the fire alarm and staying in the building. It's not safe for us. That positivity can actually keep us stuck for longer. Whereas if we are able to feel our fear and not dwell in it, it's not healthy to stay in fear or other heavy emotions. It's not healthy to be dominated by them. But being dominated by heavy emotions is not the only alternative to positive thinking. The healthy response to fear is to feel it, to spend time with it and ask, what is the message here? And thank the fear for the message it brought. And then transform the energy that was fear into something useful. Turn it into action. Turn it into protection, saving yourself, working on your healing journey. Allow yourself to feel that little bit of eustress, not distress, but eustress, the positive, helpful, healthy stress, to get yourself to act now on your health. By developing the skill of embracing our emotions and transforming them into useful messages and actions, we are able to devote more of ourselves and more of our energy and time to healing. No happy thoughts necessary. The other side of advice on the internet is the people sharing advice. People like me. We're typically very well-intentioned, speaking from our truth, speaking from our own life experiences. Yet, as the person living with severe health issues, it is your job and it serves you to assume that any new health content does not apply to you. That should be the default assumption whenever finding a new influencer or seeing some new content from someone you already follow, until they have proven themselves to you, until they have talked in depth about symptoms just like yours, health issues just like yours, helping people just like you, or having gone through exactly what you're going through themselves. Make them show you that they understand your unique scenario, or at least can apply to some of what you're going through before taking any of their content seriously. Because even if that content reaches you, even if it is marketed to you, that does not mean it is right for you. Just like those health inspo quotes, I wish came with an asterisk about who they do and do not apply to. all of the health advice on the internet should be treated the same. It is worth protecting what health advice reaches your eyeballs and your brain cycles. You should be protecting the advice that reaches you as if your recovery depended on it, because it does. So, bit of a two-part lesson here today, really about reconsidering the advice on the internet, making sure that it actually applies to you and your scenario before considering it as applicable to your own life. And the other side is really watching out for that toxic positivity on the internet, because it can actually keep us stuck, emotionally stuck and physically stuck where we are in our healing journeys, when I want to see you thriving again. I want you free. I want you open. I want you feeling as good as you can emotionally, while acknowledging the reality of your situation and being able to make forward progress on healing. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I'd love to know how this landed for you today. Advice against advice on the internet coming from someone on the internet. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.